Hi, I'm Chloe Elise, and this is the Fashion to Impact podcast, the show where we empower curvy mid-sized women to quit playing it safe and begin presenting their best self in any situation. Through discussing the latest fashion trends and discovering ways to overcome the status quo, on this journey, we'll learn what it truly means to impact the world through fashion. Welcome back to the Fashion to Impact podcast. I'm your host, Chloe Elise, and let's have these hard conversations. So, this is kind of touchy subject for me, and I'm not sure how to approach this, so we're just going to dive right into it. For the longest time, I've always had a little sense of shame about my body. I am very top heavy. When I was younger, I was very bottom heavy, but I think my body has kind of balanced itself out. But from very young, I've always received attention that wasn't solicited. I don't know. Even at church, it would be like, you shouldn't wear this, or you shouldn't wear that, or you don't want to entice men, or you don't want to entice boys, or you don't want to wear that because they may think this, or that may be too short, or that may be too low cut. So I've always had a sense of shame with my body, and it has kind of transpired over to my relationships. Even at work, when you have curves, and actually when you have boobs, people's eyes tend to wander. So they tend to look down, and you have to be like, Tom, look at me in my face. Or like, Bob, look at me in my face. And I don't know, it kind of shaped me in the way now that I am starting to date and I'm starting to put myself out there. I can tell that I'm very guarded, even when people acknowledge or compliment my shape or my frame. I am very like, oh, okay. Like, I get very uncomfortable. And I don't know where this sort of shame came from, but I'm slowly trying to break this sort of shame, because God made me this way, and I shouldn't be afraid of it. I'm very modest when it comes to dressing. I'm also very modest in how I carry myself. So that's not it. But people still to this day tend to point out my chest or my behind. And I just want to talk about it. I just want to normalize real bodies, and I want to talk about the narrative of over sexualizing young Black girls' bodies, because even these kids these days, they develop very fast. I think it's the McDonald's, okay, the hormones in the food, but these kids, they can be 12 years old and have bodies of a 21-year-old, and they have to live with this sort of attention that they receive, and they're not prepared for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still have that childlike mind, and to have the attention from older men or like older women or just people in general telling you what you can wear, what you can't wear. You shouldn't wear like this. You shouldn't sit this way. You need to, like, you know what I'm saying? Very nitpicky. And it's like, my body, this is just what I've been born with. This is just what God's given me. And it comes with all these stipulations, I don't know. I don't even know. I just wanted to talk about it. I had this conversation with one of my friends when the whole WAP situation came out. And TikTok is a very free platform for these young girls, but these kids are not listening to the lyrics. If y'all didn't notice that, these kids are not listening to the lyrics. They're just trying to learn these dances. But these lyrics and these dance moves, when they are put together and they are understood, it can be very it can be taken out of context, you know? And with the WAP situation, I think it was such an uproar because these kids were dancing and saying these lyrics, but they didn't know the meaning behind it. Just like us in the 90s, we were dancing, butterflying, Tootsie Roll, like we at Freaknik, but we didn't understand what we were saying, you know? And for people to say like these kids are being over sexualize their dance moves, or to put them in a category that they're fast because of them doing a TikTok dance and their body shape, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because these kids, they're born with these bodies, and society shouldn't assume something because of what they look like. You know what I'm saying? And even in the Black community, we all have these shapely bodies, but we still seem to body shame these girls in church, or we body shame them by what they wear or how they dress. And it's like, if we're not taught how to dress for our shape, if we're not empowered as a young woman to dress for ourselves, that can kind of dictate how we grow up, and also dictate how we see ourselves in the world. Also dictates our self-esteem, you know? And I don't know, I just want to change the narrative of just body shaming curvy bodies, because we didn't ask for these bodies. We were just born with it. And people, Instagram, Facebook, this day and age, they tend to praise these butt injections, lip injections, these BBL type of societies, and they tend to shame curvy bodies because I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I think we have to start helping these young women and normalizing curvy bodies, normalizing the real standard of beauty. We can no longer live by the European standards. We have to start creating our own narrative. I remember when I traveled to Amsterdam with my family. We were on our way to Ghana, and we were in the airport. Mind you, if you ever been to Amsterdam, the food is bigger. Y'all, everybody knows about the drugs over there and the prostitution. But in the airport, they had a McDonald's. And the McDonald's hamburger, y'all, was the size of a Whopper. And over there in Amsterdam, they eat their French fries with mayonnaise. So I went up there. I was apart from my family. I think I went up there to get like ketchup or something. And I came back to the table, and this lady, mind you, she's European or whatever. She was like, "Oh, how old is she?" And I'm like, "What?" And my mom, I think I was like 12 that time. She was like, oh, she's big. Oh, she doesn't look like she's 12. She's very big. And when I tell you, y'all, that still sticks to me to this day. I struggled with my body for so long just because of that one instance, going overseas in a different European country, in a different country apart from where I live, and to have somebody say in front of me to my parents, "Oh, she's too big. Oh, she looks too big for her age." Like, how dare you? How dare you? You know what I'm saying? And that has always sat with me. So I am very conscious of how I move and how I speak to younger women. That's primarily why I started Project Slay. Like, I didn't have an older sister to help me with my prom dress. I remember I was like, "Oh, I'm going to be different for prom, y'all." I wore a blazer and the short dress to prom. And I had one of them Carrie Hilson humps. Y'all know how they used to wear the humps in the front? That was my freaking prom dress situation. You know what I'm saying? And if I had an older sister to help me and to tell me, "Oh, maybe you should get like a dress, like a gown," yeah, maybe my prom would have went a little bit differently. But that's the reason why I started Project Slay, because I wanted to empower these young girls out here. Like, you don't, because of your shape, because of your body, you do not have to dress or carry yourself a certain way. Like, society is going to have to take you as you are. And I'm going to create a space where, despite your social, economic capacities, despite what you look like, despite what people have said about you, this is a safe place for you to come. And for your prom night, we gonna deck you out, honey, and you're gonna look your best, and you're gonna feel the best, and you're gonna experience top quality service. And that's what I did. And the impact that I see when I have those events for Project Slay has really kept me and sustained me to continue to do it. Like, even these young girls, like, I remember, I think this was one of the last year events, and we were in Alexandria, and the dad, he came in with his daughter, and he was like, oh, she's just coming I think she was even in middle school, and she was trying to find a dress for her formal. And he was like, yeah, she's just gonna find her a dress. So he was kind of standoffish. The girl, she came, so we kind of took her under her wing, and everybody was helping her find a dress. And the main thing of Project Slay is everybody has to walk down the runway. And when you walk down the runway, we cheer for you, we root you on. Like, this, we gonna let you know, like, this is the dress that you chose, and girl, you look good in it. So when she came, mind you, the dad, the whole time he was staying in his little corner. He wasn't saying nothing. Y'all. When his daughter finally walked down the runway in this, like, I think it was like a red type of dress, girl, the dad was so excited. Like, the dad, like, he came out of his shell in that point, and like, he was rooting his daughter on. And for me, sorry guys, sometimes I'm not trying to cry. For me, it was just like, this is why I do this. You know, this is really why I put in all this work, all this effort, all this promoting, all this getting dresses, all this money I put into storing these dresses. Like, to see the joy that the daughter and the father had in this moment was, like, so amazing to me. And yes, she looked older than her age, but the dress fit her age at that time, and she looked beautiful. And it was like her self-esteem, you could just see, like, the self-esteem radiate off of her. Even when she, like, posed and she did her little thing, it was like, wow, like I'm really making a difference. And I don't know, I just want more people to join in this fight to normalize these bodies, because this is what God has given us, and we shouldn't be ashamed of it. And yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to talk about that and just start the conversation with people on just over sexualizing, especially Black women, young girls' bodies. Like, they're sacred regardless of the size, regardless of the shape, and we have to protect them at all costs, and we have to educate them instead of belittling them. Like, we have to give them tools and teach them the skills how to navigate and dress for their bodies, instead of shaming them and saying you need to look this way in order for people not to over sexualize you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, if you have any more topics or comments about this, or if you experience this yourself, make sure you leave us a comment or a DM at Fashion to Impact Podcast on Instagram. And make sure you share this podcast with people. I just want to start the conversation and the narrative, because if somebody has started it when I was when I was young, then maybe, my outcome would be a little bit different. But yeah, I thank you all for listening, and I will speak to y'all next time.